Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Angela Wolf here, Brother Brand Ambassador, and I'm so excited to see you. I hope you had a great weekend. And in our last show, actually two of my last shows, I started working on what started from a mug rug to a table cover to I think it might be a pillow now. But I just wanted to show you the progress before we have a fabulous lesson for you today. Doesn't it look great? So if you missed these episodes, we got print moda going on, free motion embroidery, letters. It was a lot of fun. So you can go back on Brother's YouTube page and watch those. But I was thinking, today we have Sara on. She's going to show some really cool things with the ScaNCut for the graduation. I think I might have to add some things to this before I stick it in the mail tomorrow. So, no, my mother's not graduating, but for Mother's Day, I can still do something cool that Sara's going to show. So, Sara, come on up to the party. How are you?
Hey, Angela, I'm good. I'm excited today. Yeah, I was telling my followers on social media that even if you're not graduating, this is a great live to tune into because we're going to learn so much about the scan.
I'm so excited. And you do such a good job teaching all of this. So I took some of the things in the past, what you showed on Print Moda, where you added pictures of your family. So I used that and then printed this fabric and then started piecing it together into like a mini quilt. My mom is going to just die when she sees all these pictures, and I did some funny ones too. So, but I got a lot of tips from you on that. So I can't wait to see what you're sharing about the ScanNCut today.
Yeah. Oh, your mom's going to love that. All moms love photo gifts, right? I've been working on a bunch, sublimation, print moda, everything for my grandparents, my mom, for Mother's Day.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so now we're talking about graduation, but like you said, this could be for anything, but I'm really excited to see what you have for this because that's always a cool thing is to decorate the hat.
I know. And I didn't have a ScanNCut when I graduated college, so I had to hand paint like a loser. I'm kidding. So this is what we're going to work on today. This is my graduation cap. It's blue. Doesn't quite go with my color theme here, but you can choose your colors based on what color your cap and gown is. But all of this was done with the ScanNCut with paper piecing. And we actually are going to look at Canvas Workspace, which is software that Brother offers specifically for the ScanNCut. And there's a whole library of projects on there. So I'm going to show you that. And that is actually where I pulled these little flowers from. So we're going to do the text and make the outline and convert clip art to these little peace signs, cut files, and then we're going to pull the flowers from a project. So we're really going to talk about software. But I wanted to just do a really brief overview about my lovely ScanNCut here because some of us, if you're not super familiar with it, I want to really let you know how much you can do with this machine, right? So the scan portion of ScanNCut means that when you put your cut material onto your cutting mat, there is a built-in scanner in the machine. So it will scan your mat for you and then display an image of what is on your mat on the screen of the machine. That way you can perfectly position your cut pieces to sit right on top of where your material is on the mat. It is a total game changer. So you don't have to fill your whole mat or guess where to put the paper or the fabric that you're cutting. It scans it for you and you can perfectly position every time. In addition to cutting paper, you can cut so many things on here, up to 3 millimeters thickness. And to really illustrate that point, I love to show these leather earrings. Cut these right on the ScanNCut. This is real thick leather here. And this is actually a project in the Art Spirit app. So if you guys haven't heard or haven't downloaded the Art Spirit app yet, definitely check it out. There's one free magazine a month with projects. This is one of the projects that is in one of those magazines, whether it's a subscription mag or a free one, it is on there for you. So fabric, leather, balsa wood, of course paper, of course vinyl. You can foil with the machine. You can emboss. It's endless. Not to mention, and I forgot to mention this last time I was talking about the ScaNCut, and I was kicking myself because it's probably one of my favorite features. The machine will draw for you. So you can get a pen holder. It comes with a couple of pens, but you could also get a universal pen holder so you could use your favorite markers and pens to draw out notes and cards and different artwork. I mean, it's great. For someone who has messy handwriting like me, I absolutely love that it will draw for me. This is another little art sphere project that I did in the winter. It's a little hot cocoa packet holder and all of these tiny little paper pieces I cut out on the ScaNCut. So I like to show this one because you can really see the precision in the cutting.
That's really cute, Sarah.
Yeah. This is another one. And again, precision. I cut out all these teeny, teeny, tiny little foam dots to put on my starfish. So those are all raised foam dots. And my coworkers laugh at me every time I do one of these projects that has the teeny little pieces on it, but I love it. I get my tweezers out and my glasses and I just perfectly place them all down. So vinyl too also cuts really beautifully. So this is a notebook and I cut out the inspired definition out of cracked vinyl, so it's adhesive, and put it on the cover of my notebook. Heat transfer vinyl, it's great for that too. Have a little bag here that I made, another Art Sphere project, and that's all heat transfer vinyl. Last but not least, if you have a top-of-the-line embroidery machine like the Stellaire XE2 or XJ2 or the Luminaire XT1, 2, or 3, you can use it with your ScanNCut to do My Connection, which allows you to cut out the fabric pieces for your applique embroidery designs on the ScanNCut. And that is such a fun feature. I just did a class on it the other day. So it's really great for projects like this. This is a really nice corduroy fabric that I have just a scrap of. And if you are familiar with applique, you know that cutting out these tiny little holes inside the bee can be really difficult, especially with a thick fabric. So using the My Connection feature and my ScanNCut, I put a square of the corduroy on my ScanNCut mat, and it cut out this beautiful bee for me. I placed it down in my hoop on my embroidery machine, and I kept going with my applique. This is another fun one too. So this is like, this one here is like a chiffon, a really lightweight fabric. This is a regular quilting cotton type fabric. So it works on all different kinds of fabrics really beautifully. Thick, thin, you name it. All right. So let's get started on our grad cap.
I'll bring your, oh, let me bring you back up. I'm sorry, Sarah. I thought we were going to the computer.
I want to just start by going over the supplies that we need. So of course you have your graduation hat, and I'm actually going to take this one off. So what I did was I taped it down to the top of my cap, and you'll see my hand painted design that I have on here. So this was my grad cap from college. And what I did was I cut the base paper out and I made a hole for this little button to go in. And that way, I mean, we are covering that up with the piece out, but I felt like it laid flatter when I had that little cutout in the middle for the button. So I'm going to recommend that you do that. So I have an assortment of papers here. I got lots of glitters and I got an iridescent piece. That should be fun to play with. And really you need one big piece, like a 12 by 12 inch for that base of the cap. So that's going to be your biggest piece you need to cut out. And then I am using my standard mat. Let me take the cover off here. I've had this for several years, so it's not extremely sticky. It's not as adhesive as it was when I first took it out of the box. So I'm able to use this for paper and the paper doesn't rip. If you have a brand new standard mat, I would not recommend using it for paper because it's really, really tacky, and you might want to use the low tack mat instead because that's better, you know, fresh out of the box to use with paper. And then I also have just some, what would you call this? Liquid glue? I don't know. Double-sided tape. I have a paper tape just to double secure my paper pieces down to the mat. And then I also have some foam dots. I use the foam dots to put down the piece out here, again, because it has to go over that button in the middle there. So I think it just looked a little bit nicer to have it raised using the foam dots. So first thing I'm going to do, I think I'm going to use this really light orange piece as our base today. So I'm going to place it on my mat. And I'm going to take a couple pieces of paper tape. I got this tape from the dollar store. So it is quite affordable, but it's probably not the best quality. But I use a lot of it because I'm always using my ScanNCut, and I like to have that extra security of the tape holding everything in place. It can be totally tricky to get it off the roll in one piece, though.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I can't even tell you how many times I've had these little things of tape and I sit there forever trying to find that little piece, and it's only during a live.
Yeah, naturally. I try to kind of keep a piece of it sticking up so I don't have to do this, but I guess I forgot this time around. So sorry, everyone. Here we go. I'm gonna have to make do with this.
You're gonna have it like stuck all over.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay, so at the machine, I'm just going to load this mat in, and then we're going to jump right to some software, and we're going to create the shape for our base. She went to sleep on me. There we go. So this key right here, this button, is the load mat key, and it will load your mat in and out. Okay, so that's all set up. So now, Angela, if you could bring up Canvas Workspace. So this is Brother's free software for the ScanNCut. Thank you. And when you first open it, it will open up this Canvas project library. So we're going to get back to this a little bit later. But this is that library that I was talking about that has all of those free projects for you. And when you click on each of them, it gives you a preview of the project, as well as, yeah, sometimes there's even a project video. And, woo! And there's also a PDF with all the project instructions. And then you have your cut files right here on the side. So it's everything right there for you to create this beautiful butterfly card. So I'm going to close this out for now, but we will definitely get back to that. So to start off here, this is my ScanNCut mat that it's showing me. And then I have some tools on the left and on the right. So on the left side, I'm going to go into my shapes, and I'm going to pick a square. And then I'm going to close my shapes out. On the right, I have my editing tools open, and I'm going to resize this. So I ended up using a square that was 9.38 inches. So I'm going to punch in 9.38 inches and then keep maintain aspect ratio checked, because that is going to keep it a perfect square. So when I resize, now it's 9.38 width and height. So that's that aspect ratio. It's locking those two together so that they are equal. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my shapes and I'm going to grab a little circle. There's all different kinds of fun shapes in here, as you can see. I think I scrolled past the circle. And I'm going to make my circle 0.85 inches. If you want to replicate this later, then just jot down these measurements. These are really the only two measurements you're going to need. So the square is 9.38 inches, and the circle here is 0.85 inches. So you can easily replicate this on your own if you have those two measurements. I'm going to select both of these shapes and then use the align tools to make sure that the circle is in the center of the square. So I'm going to align center and then align the middle. And now the circle is centered inside the square. So it'll line up perfectly with the button on my graduation cap. Would you call it a button? I'm not sure. I guess it's kind of like a covered button. So this is perfect, and I can just double check, but typically it automatically sets the function of these lines to cut, and that's what we want. We want the machine to cut out of our paper a square and then a circle. So we're ready to transfer this. So I go to File. I know you can't see that on my screen. It's at the top of my computer, but File and then Export/Transfer. And then I'm going to transfer it via the internet, and my Canvas Workspace is already connected to my ScanNCut. It's very easy to connect the two. You just have to make sure you're on the same wireless network on your computer, your laptop, and your ScanNCut machine. So it transferred that over. Now I'm going to go back to my ScanNCut and retrieve the file.
All right, I'll bring you back up, Sara. There you are, and making sure there you go. And by the way, everyone, we are live, so drop your questions in there, and Sara will take those here shortly too. So a lot of people are saying this is super cute, Sara.
Oh, awesome. All right, so I'm going to go to retrieve data down at the bottom here, and then I'm going to select the cloud pocket. That's where any of the files from Canvas Workspace or Artspira are going to be delivered to the machine. So there it is on my screen. Let's see if I could turn off the grid so you guys can see that better. Oops. Now it's not aligned. Good thing there's an undo button. Now they're lined up together. So I'm going to scan in my mat and show you how that works. So when I press scan, the machine's going to feed the map through, and it's running under the built-in scanner and capturing the image of what's on my map. Now the image is displayed up here, so you can see my orange paper. It fills the whole page, so this wasn't totally necessary for this step, but I just want to show you how that works. So it's definitely within the area of my paper on my map, so I'm ready to cut. I can press OK. Please select Cut. And I have my standard blade set in here. This is an automatic blade. So it is going to measure the distance down to the map for me and then measure down to my cut material, so my paper. And the machine itself is going to determine the pressure and the depth of the blade to use to cut through this material. So there's no need for me to test or to fiddle with the depth of the blade or anything like that. It's automatic, and we love that. We love that. So half cut is off. Half cut is when you're cutting vinyl and you want to leave the vinyl on the transfer backing. But we want to cut all the way through the paper. So half cut is off. Speed is the standard setting and pressure is auto. So I can start.
It's so quiet.
It is. It's very, very quiet. And then I'll go back to my table and I'm going to eject to the mat. It's done cutting already. Let me clear these other papers out for now. I'm going to need your help picking some colors later for our flowers and all that. But here it is. Just like that. It looks like a Cheez-It. So now I can bring my cap over and I'm just going to gently press until that button pops all the way through. If you press down too hard, you might rip the paper, which is okay because again, we're covering it with the piece out. But if you just gently press, I tested this a few different times, but this measurement perfectly fits around, so it fits nice and snug without ripping. So that's the size that I went with. Now I'm just going to put some double-sided tape in the corners here to secure it down to my cap. Do we have any questions so far? I know we're just getting started.
Nope, everybody is just saying they love it, and they're telling us what ScanNCut they have right now. So,
oh, great.
Yeah.
You could definitely use hot glue for this stuff or something a bit more permanent. Because this is my actual graduation cap, I don't want to completely ruin it. So I am just using double-sided tape, which has worked really well. So yeah, whatever option you feel comfortable with will work. Alrighty, so now we're ready to cut the text out. Let's set up our mat first. So I'm going to take off whatever remains of my base here. I like to reuse the paper tape a couple times, but not more than that because then it's not sticky enough. So I'm thinking of doing the iridescent paper for the background where I have the white here. What do you think, Angela?
Oh, that would look good. I like that.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
I just used some of that paper last week. I was making, well, it was kind of like the sticker back with that stuff for fishing lures.
Oh, cool. It's nice and shiny for the fish, right?
Yep.
Okay, and then the letters, let's see. I have so many different colors here. What do you think? Darker or lighter? It's a tough choice.
Ooh, I don't know. What do you all think? I'm waiting to see if any of them are voting on what you should be using.
Okay.
I like both.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can go wrong, but I am curious to see. if you guys have any suggestions. I'm going to grab my paper scissors. I forgot to bring those over. See if I can reach them without pulling my microphone.
All right, everybody watching while she's grabbing that, if you have questions, drop them in. We are live today on Brother Craft's YouTube and Facebook pages, and we'll take your questions. If you're watching the replay, you can still leave a question. The social team will pass it over to us.
Uh-oh, I think my mat is too sticky for this iridescent paper. Oh, shoot.
And you have a vote for darker.
Darker?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Oh, no, it is too sticky.
It is. Yeah. That's all right. I'll clean it off later. At least I know it's not going anywhere, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to cut out a piece of this darker orange. It's just the iridescent paper. The other paper is sticking beautifully, so that's what I get for not testing out that paper. Okay, I'm just struggling with my tape a little bit more. Trying to get another decent piece here.
Brenda, I don't see your question. Drop it in again. Make sure I see this comment, but I don't see any questions. Yeah, so if I haven't, because we are live right now, if I don't see your question and I don't bring it up, it means I don't see it. Just pop it in again. You never know about live shows, what comes through and what doesn't.
Okay, I'm going to load.
Well, you got another vote for dark, but while you're there getting your tape working, Mary wants to know, when do you use half cut? And that's a great question because I get that a lot. When do you turn it off? When do you turn it on? You have the option.
Yeah. So half cut, I've used it a couple of different ways. So for this heat transfer vinyl, for example, so heat transfer vinyl, you have to actually cut it in reverse. You cut it backwards and you leave, so just the letters will be left, for example, on a clear transfer material. So the roll comes with the colored vinyl and it's stuck to a clear transfer material. And so you want to cut only through the colored vinyl and not through the transfer material. And then you weed out all the stuff you don't need to transfer onto your project. And you use that transfer material on top to press the heat transfer vinyl on. Once you press with heat and pressure, you remove the transfer material and then your project is done. But that is one major way that you would use half cut. Also, if you want to cut a sheet of stickers. So we've all seen a sticker sheet before, you get gold stars in school. When you peel the gold star off the sheet of stickers, the backing paper remains. So that's half cut. It's cutting only through the star, the gold sticker material, and not the backing paper. All right, so I loaded in my second mat with the iridescent paper and the dark orange. So now I'm going to go back to Canvas Workspace. And we can save the base here. So if you wanted to make a couple different, or you think you're going to use this pattern in the future, you can always save this in your computer. I'm going to just delete it for now. And then I'm going to go into my text tool. Now, what I really like about the text tool is that in Canvas Workspace, it pulls from the fonts that are in your computer already. And that means that you can download some. If you find some that are free to use, you can download them off the web. And so I found this one called Super Festival. and it's very groovy. So here, I'll blow it up for you guys a little bit. So I really like this, and I'm able to really easily use that in Canvas Workspace. So I'm going to do piece, and then I'm going to duplicate that and make it say out. So we have piece out. You can type one line of text at a time. I'm going to select both of them and use my align tools again to align to the center. Now to make that white background, or I'm going to cut it out of iridescent this time, there's this really cool tool on here, also in the editing tool section, called offset. So I'm going to use offset. I have my spacing set to 0.2 inches. It's going to go outward, and I want the corners to be round. I also want to make sure that the outline is only going around the outer edge, so it's not going to outline the little hole in the P and the A and the O. It's just going to go around the outside. And this right here is previewing, so the red line is where the offset line is going to be. So press OK. And now it has these two offset outlines, but you can see they're overlapping a little bit. So I'm going to go into my layers here on the right, and I'm just going to select both of those outline shapes. You can select them directly from the page right here, but I find it easier to control when I'm selecting from the layers panel. And then I'm going to go into edit, and I'm going to weld the two together. So that's just going to remove that overlapping part. Ta-da! Now we have one beautiful outline for our backing. Now I'm going to select everything and just check my size. I made this about 6 inches. Perfect. Now I'm just going to pull out the background there, but I know I want to cut this out of iridescent, and I placed that paper at the top of the mat. So I am going to switch them. I'm going to scan my mat again and make sure that everything is placed really well once we get over to the machine. But in general, I like to place them for the most part where I put the paper before I transfer it to the machine. Just makes it easier. You're already here, might as well. So I'm going to File, Transfer, and I'm going to transfer via the internet. And it's done. So back at the ScanNCut, I have my base up here, but I'm going to go home. I'm going to go back to Retrieve Data and use the Cloud Pocket. There it is. So now I'm going to do a new scan because I have the new material on my mat. Okay. So I can also dim the scanned image a little bit. Sometimes, yeah, it makes it easier to see where your cut data is and where the material is. So it looks like my background piece is like just big enough for the paper. So I'm going to go into my editing tools, and I'm going to use my move tool to more precisely move it so that it fits on the paper. You can move just with your finger, but I like to, again, when it's like really close to the edge there, yeah, it's just going to fit. Using the move tool is a little bit more precise for smaller movements. Okay, and then down here, I'm going to use my select tool, and I'm going to select piece and out, so that I can move them together and I don't mess up the alignment that I set on the computer and make sure that they're right on top of my dark orange paper. Okay, so we're ready to cut. Still using my standard blade. I'm going to select cut and start.
So Sarah, while that's cutting, you do have a question here that Brenda, it did come through, and she wants to know a little bit more of an explanation. Let me just bring this up if I can find it. She just had a question. What's the difference between Canvas Workspace that downloads onto your computer and Canvas Workspace that you sign into? So Brenda, are you referring to Artspira that you signed into or Canvas Workspace? Just out of curiosity. But Canvas Workspace, if you want to just mention just a little bit about that, Sarah.
Yeah. Well, I know that you can log on to a website that's called Canvas Workspace, and I've done that primarily to connect different machines to my Canvas Workspace account. But the app version of it for your computer is like the desktop version. It just allows you to go on and edit without having to necessarily use the internet, right? Because if I had no internet, I could still open Canvas Workspace with the desktop app, and I could edit different things and save them to my computer. But if you're logging onto the Canvas Workspace website on the internet, you obviously need an internet connection for that. So I would say that's the main difference. All right, let's see how this came out. I hope this comes off. Please be kind to me. Let me get my spatula. Maybe that'll help a little bit.
Oh, Brenda got it. Perfect. Okay, great. And if you have any other questions, drop them in. Hopefully that helped.
Yeah,
Julie
let
says
us know.
she loves her ScaNCut.
Yes. Love, love, love. She's really sticking. So I'm just using the included spatula with my machine to just try and get a good clean peel here, but it doesn't look like it's really in the cards. That was my bad, everyone. So again, the low tack mat would have been perfect for this. It's a little bit less sticky and it's really good for cutting paper. So this would not have happened if I used my low tack mat. Wait. It's a little sad looking. Oh man. Okay. Well, here are my beautiful letters.
Oh, those look good.
Yeah, those are perfect. It's the thicker cardstock is doing really well on this mat. So I'm going to take each of these off and I'm going to set them aside. We can assemble all of the pieces together when we're done cutting. I'm going to grab a new mat though. Just give me 1 second because this one's looking a little too messy now. And I will clean it off later.
So while she's doing that, I'll just pop up here. Yeah, Julie says that you can do most things outside of Canvas Workspace. The only nice part of Canvas Workspace is if you want to do a whole bunch of things, no different than maybe using embroidery software where you can see it on your screen, on your computer screen, work on it and send it. It's really what your preference is, and you just have a few more tools at your hand.
A few more tools on the web version, you said?
Yeah, then just going straight to the machine.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not really more tools, but sometimes I find it easier to use to go on to Canvas Workspace and lay things out where I know they want to go because I like to see it on a big screen. That's just my preference.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I prefer it for that too. Okay, so I'm setting these aside for now. And I think I'm going to go ahead and cut a new one of these really quickly while I have the page up, how about we try sparkle? Can't go wrong with sparkle. And then the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you guys how I used a clip art of a peace sign and converted it to cut data, again, on Canvas Workspace. So to recut just that background piece, I'm going to select piece out and just delete it. There we go. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And go ahead and cut that. So while that's cutting, I'll jump back to Canvas Workspace. And now what I'm going to do is, again, you can go ahead and save this file if you'd like. I'm just going to delete those for now. And I'm going to bring in my clip art of the peace sign. So just so you guys know, if you're using this in a project that you're distributing or you're teaching others, there are ways to filter when you search for royalty-free clip art. So it's free to use on the web, and that's just a good thing to do. You don't want to steal other people's art. So I'm using the image tracing tool, and I'm going to choose image in the computer. And I did not move it, so I have to go into my downloads. Here it is, piece. Open that up. And now I have a couple of options. I can trace the outer edge only, which would just give me a circle. So you can see that aqua line that's in there, that is the shape that it's creating. I want to trace by color, and now it's kind of grabbing all of the sections in the middle to create a true peace sign. So I'm also going to uncheck paste the image in the drawing area. I don't need the clip art to be in the drawing area. I just need the shape that we're creating from the trace. So I'm going to press OK. And I lost my window. Hold on. There we go. Now, it's very slight, but you notice how the pieces in here are a little bit darker than the outside. So it actually created a bunch of shapes for me. And when I go into my layers panel, I can see that really clearly, that there is a whole peace sign up here. And then there are duplicates of all these like inside pieces. So I'm going to select all of them and delete them because I don't need that. I just want one peace sign shape. And there it is. So now we have a beautiful peace sign. And sorry, zooming too much. I sized my peace sign to be about 2.5 inches. So I can go into edit and make the width 2.5 inches, leaving that aspect ratio selected. So it's not going to stretch it in a weird way. It's making it all proportional. And then I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm going to cut 3 of them. I used 2 peace signs on the last pack that I did, but I'm going to do 3 this time. And I think we are ready to add in the flowers too. I think we'll be able to kind of fit that all on one page. So let's go into our Canvas project collection. And this is that window, like I said, this opens up right when you open Canvas Workspace, but you can close it out and open it up another time. It won't disappear forever. So there is a way for you to search in here, and there are lots of projects that use flower shapes. So if I search flower, all these projects come up. So you can kind of decide if you like some of these flower shapes more than the ones that I use today, you can open any of these projects and grab those cut files. I use the flower gift box project. So again, here's the preview of the project, the instruction PDF, and then this is our cut files. So once I select the cut files, it seems like nothing happens, but when you close out of the project collection, there are our cut files that inserted it onto the drawing area for us. So I can delete the box pattern because we're just going to use these lovely little flowers here. So let's see. I wrote down the measurements that I used here. It looks like I sized the flowers to 2.5 inches. So these are 2.5 already. And what I did is once I cut them out, I arranged them like this on the cap. And so I like to do 2 different colors. So I did a lighter color on the bottom and then a darker on the top. And those are the big ones. So I use 2 big ones. So I'm going to go ahead and make 4 of these. Grabbing those and copying and pasting. And then I need 2 of the center of the flowers. And then the smaller flowers that I made, I just duplicated this and I sized it down to about 1.62 inches, and that would be the smaller flower. And so for some of those, I just did 1 piece and, oh no, it looks like I did all of them as 1 piece, but then I also resized the center part. And I think what I did too was, see how there's a little scallop around this? Once we size it down, you're really not going to be able to see that scallop at all. So I went ahead and just grabbed a regular circle. Let's see where to go. There it is. And I sized it down just using my eye. And then you can go ahead and fill it to make it kind of stand out a bit more. All right, so I made 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to do 6 of these smaller ones. But I cut them out in all different colors. So I'm just going to start with 2. And we're not going to be able to fit that much more paper onto this mat. I'm always trying to maximize what I'm cutting on the mat, but sometimes it's just not a good idea. So I'm going to start with 2 here, and then we will put more paper on the mat and cut more. Sound good? Okay, I'm going to transfer this.
This is so easy to use. I'm watching the chat where everyone's like, do you prefer the app or do you prefer the online version? I think it's about 50-50.
Really? Well, I'm glad. I wanted to make this as easy as possible. I hope I'm not overwhelming anyone. It sounds like I'm not, which is great.
No, I think they're learning a lot.
Perfect. All right, so I finished cutting the new background. There, beautiful. It peeled off nice and easy. So we're going to use this one as the background for the piece out. And I set that aside. I'm just going to eject the mat here. And we can load the new file that I sent over with the piece signs, retrieve data, cloud pocket. There it is. Okay, so, but now we need to put all the paper on the mat. So for my piece signs, I definitely want to do a few of the flowers in a glitter paper. I think that would be really fun. So I have pink and yellow. Tough choice. I think I'm going to do some of the bigger ones in this pink. It does help to use the grid to approximate how big you want to make your paper. So I'm looking at the layout of my pattern pieces, or my cut pieces, on the preview of the mat on my screen. Right here, and I could see how many each block is an inch. Right, Angela? I actually don't know. Yeah, each block is an inch. So I can use the grid to find out how big my paper should be approximately, so to know that I'll be able to fit all those flowers in there.
That looks good.
Peace signs. I think I want to do I do like the color balance in here, so I'm going to try and stick to that, make it pretty similar. I always struggle with picking colors. I'm like, I don't know, is that going to look good? Or, but I'm happy with how this came out. So I think I'm going to stick to the recipe here. I'm going to do pink peace signs. I have this really dark pink here. So cutting a piece to go along the top, because that's where I have those peace signs laid out. Make this a little smaller. And I just like to tape in opposite corners. I feel like it holds it really nicely that way. Okay, what else? We need the flower centers. So I'm going to do a small piece of yellow right here. And then we have two small flowers. So let's see. I'm going to do an orange for those. Did you decorate your graduation cap for high school or college or anything, Angela?
You know, this is really bad. I skipped my college graduation because it was going to be too long. So I just got my little diploma, not my diploma, my degree, and that was it. And then for high school, I have to be honest, I don't think I did. I don't think we did back then. I mean, I'm not that I'm as old as Moses, but I just don't remember doing anything. We'd always put like little notes inside the hat, but I don't ever recall doing anything on the outside of the hat. So maybe in college they did, but again, I skipped that.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Some of those college graduations can be so long. I know I went to my brother's and he went to Penn State, and it was 3 hours.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah. And not that I didn't want to go. Actually, yeah, obviously I didn't want to go because I didn't. I don't know. I'd love to hear from everybody watching this. Did you decorate your hat? Or in my age, did I miss something? Maybe I just, because this looks like a lot of fun. I might have to just do it again. Maybe I'll have to go get my master's just so I can wear a cool hat. Right, Sara?
Yeah, that won't be too much work at all. That'll be perfect.
Linda said she skipped hers too. Good. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. You know, in high school, I wasn't allowed to decorate my graduation cap. So.
Oh, good. Patty says back in the old days, it wasn't a thing back then. Okay, so I feel better.
College, though, I went to an art school, so you kind of have to. Okay, so I scanned in my mat with all my colorful paper pieces, and I'm just going to make sure that they're all sitting on top of the material. Now, I only want 2 of these big flowers to be the light pink, so I'm actually going to go ahead and delete 2 of them for now. And on our next mat, I'm going to put down a darker pink for the other 2 big flower pieces. Got all my peace signs in there. So we're ready to cut.
While it's cutting, Sara, Brenda wants to know what our degrees were in. So mine was started in engineering, but I was really bored. So I changed to business organizational management. And then I started designing clothes right out of college. How about you?
That's awesome. I studied fashion design, so I got a 4-year degree in fashion design. I specialized in women's wear, but I also took all of the children's wear coursework on top of that.
Oh, wow. I would have loved that. I might not have been so bored. I loved math, but when I ran out of math classes, I was bored. Fashion design would have been fun. So instead, I studied it on my own the whole way through. So kudos to you. I think I would have gone to your graduation.
Yeah. It was fun. We had it at Radio City Music Hall. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and Brenda, is it Brenda? We've got a new person here or Linda Brooks. She's new to the ScanNCut. So welcome to the party.
Hope I'm inspiring you. Such a cool machine.
Brenda says fun makes her smile. That's awesome. You know what I love about this is as you're teaching, there's some people here that are asking like how to look up other tutorials and find differences in the ScanNCuts. And the YouTube page today is everybody's helping everyone. It's like we've got our own little private live group right now, which is amazing. That's what makes brother shows so fun.
Yes, definitely. I see we're running out of time though. I can't believe it. It flew by.
Oh my gosh, we are.
Yeah. Let's see, my cut time went up a lot. I'm not sure why. It must think some of my material is thicker than it is. But before we run out of time, I'll go back to my table and just give you a quick overview of how I laid this out. So I made sure that the back of the cap is in the right direction because you want this, to be right side up. And then I use the foam dots and I put them in the corners here. And again, this is just giving it a little bit of height so that it sits nicely on top of this button in the middle because that's raised. There you go, it sits really nicely. And then I just laid out my letters. You can kind of follow the lines because it is, oh, I forgot I forgot the term, but these lines follow the shapes of your letters, so it's easy to lay it out that way. And then I just used my little liquid glue here, put some on the back, laid them out. And same thing with the flowers. Now the flowers, to make them a little extra 3D, I bent up the petals a little bit. So I was showing you how I layered 2 different colored pinks for the bigger ones. And then I just bent up the petals so that they stick off a little. I also put them sticking off the side a little bit. It gives it just more dimension overall. So even though I didn't finish today, we got a lot covered with the software, and I'm glad we did, because I know sometimes people are a little intimidated by the software, but I hope you feel a little more comfortable with that now. There's so many free projects on there that you can use. And even if you don't want to make the project that you're meant to make, you can take those little cut files out and do something completely unique.
I love that. I'm just going to put the hashtags back up here for everyone. So don't forget, if you work on this, use hashtag #BrothersScanNCut, hashtag #BrothersSews. I'm reading all the machines everybody has. A lot of everyone has upgraded. They started with one ScaNCut and upgraded, especially when the automatic blade came out. I think that was pretty much the game changer.
Definitely.
Yeah, everybody's saying they love it. Super cute. So if you want to find Sara, you can see her website scrolling below. And you can see my website scrolling below, which is where you can find the schedule. If you go to schedule, you'll see all the live shows. You can also go back and search. So if you want to see Sara's old thing, just search for her name on there. I have an events page for you to make it easier. And then we got Brother Sews here, which of course you've got 2 blogs to go to, a sewing and a crafting. So many new fun things. And if you're watching this after the live, you can still ask questions because we'll pop in and answer them. Sara, this is such a cute project. I almost want to go back and graduate now just so I can decorate my hat.
I know, it's so much fun. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I'm always looking for a great Halloween costume. I think that I just found it.
There you go.
I'll go as my graduate again. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go as the graduate, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you guys have social media, you can find me at SAB_NYC. And I'm going to post the final cap. So follow me, find me on there, and I'll definitely be sharing fun projects.
That sounds good. So head over to Instagram. Be sure to tag us so we can see what you're doing. And I want to see these caps as well. I'm going to have to come. My nephew's graduating from 8th grade in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I might have to come up with something fun for that if they're allowed to do that, or at least something fun for pictures.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, she would love that.
Yeah. So great tutorial. Everyone, thank you for watching. It is so nice to see you. For the brother shows, we will see you, I believe, on Tuesday, next Tuesday. There's not a show this Thursday, so don't want you to think you're missing anything. But if you're on Brothers YouTube page, subscribe, and you'll always be notified when we go live. And the same thing with Facebook. All right. Until next time, happy sewing. Sara, thanks for a great tutorial.
Thanks, everyone.